All right, so the reason for today's webinar is that SearchKit is officially now part of Chabadsuite in production, and we are going to be phasing out Search Builder, which is one of the searches available in Chabadsuite CRM. And SearchKit is a very powerful tool. It just needs a little bit of training, but once you get it, it's very valuable. So we're going to jump in today and show you around SearchKit and how it can empower your organization. So I'm going to share my screen. So first thing, before we jump into the actual SearchKit, is I want to explain to you how relational databases work. It's important to know it because once you visualize it, things will make more sense. So whenever you want to create a list of all your contacts or congregants or students, whatever kind of institution you're running, you could just put up a spreadsheet, right? Have first name, last name, birthday, and then, address 1, 2, 3, phone 1, 2, 3. And you could continue, that was not scrolling. Donation 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. And the reason you would do that is because people sometimes have more than one address and more than one phone number, and hopefully more than one donation. And therefore, you need to create columns for each donation that comes about. Obviously, this type of spreadsheet will soon become unusable because there will be so many columns for all the donations. You end up to have donation 532. The sheet would be non-ending. So it's not sustainable. So what happens is in a relational database, they will not have this in the contact sheet. So I'm just going to hide it. Relational database will look like this. It'll just first name, last name, birthday, because everybody just has one first name, one last name, one birthday. So anything that is related to the contact that has a unique value, only one value, will be part of the contact spreadsheet. Anything else that pertains to the contact that does not have just one value will have another spreadsheet to record it and will relate back to the contact sheet. So for example, phone. A contact might have multiple phone numbers. So we're not going to put in the contact sheet. We're going to create another spreadsheet called phone. And in the phone, we're going to put all the numbers in the database. And we're not going to mention the contact's information. It's just the phone number and then the phone type. And then in order to relate it back to the contact, we're going to use an ID. So every contact in your database has a unique contact ID. If you scroll down at any page in a CRM profile, you'll see at the bottom, it'll say contact ID 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. And that ID is always unique. And that ID is what the database uses to look up whose phone number these are. Which person does this phone number relate to? So these two numbers relate to contact 1. So they're Joe's phone numbers. And you look at donations, same thing with donations. You have the list of all the donations in your database. The donation sheet only contains payment, doesn't contain information, email, phone number, no, only the information about the payment. And then it relates back to the contact using the contact ID. So basically a database is a gathering of multiple spreadsheets, and then the front end, the CRM that you're interacting with, has different screens that combine information from all these spreadsheets in a way that is easy to consume. So for example, if I look at this screen, for example, all contacts. So what is this sheet showing me? It's showing me all the contacts in my database, first name and last name. Then it's going and pulling out the primary address and showing it to me here. And it's pulling out the primary email, the primary phone number. So this is one screen that the CRM displays for me. If I go into a contact, and by the way, this is all fake data. If I go into a contact, this screen has different sections, and each section is pulling from a different spreadsheet in the backend in order to give me a page that I can consume and with the information I need. So essentially, what is SearchKit? SearchKit gives you the ability to create your own screens or lists, and with the information that you want and you need. So that is the purpose of SearchKit. Is that clear so far? Do you guys have anybody have any obvious things that I might have missed over here? Okay, you could ask in the chat in the chat. I'll be looking at the chat as well. Okay, so back to SearchKit. So if you go to SearchKit, you get this screen. I'm going to explain to you what this screen is before we go forward. Below, you're going to see a list of all your custom searches because we're in the custom searches tab. So these are all the searches that you created. Next to it, you have package searches. Package searches are searches that we create, that our team creates and just deploys to all our accounts. Things that have been requested, that people ask. For example, we have email bounce history. So this will show you all the email bounce history. Everyone without spouses, so all single people, failed transactions. So these are things you could use. You could always, you could use them, but you could also clone them if you wanted to tweak them a little bit. You could export them as well to CSV or PDF. Data segmentation, I'm skipping for now. So back to custom searches. Over here, you have your filters. If this a list of searches gets long, you could start filtering it by who created it, what it's called, or what entity. So what an entity is a spreadsheet. So if you recall, like I said, the database is an aggregate of multiple spreadsheets. These spreadsheets are called entities. So contacts are entities, phones are entities, and donations are entities. So you could search, I want to look for contact search. So all these are searches that search primarily the contact spreadsheet, the contact entity. Okay, now you have your label, your description, what entity it is, tags, if you could tag your searches, displays, every search has the ability to create displays and multiple ways of viewing it, forms for now I'm going to leave out because it's not yet available, smart groups that were created based on the search, it was created and was last modified. Okay, so now let's jump in. Oh, sorry, one more thing. This import button. What is this import button? This import button is a way to import a search. Basically, what it means is that if your friend or your colleague created a search that you can use, he can export it by going to this and clicking export and clicking copy code to clipboard. Then you could message that code to you and you could just go to import, paste it, and then import. And then it would import the search. So basically, all Chabadsuite users can share reports within searches between each other instead of creating from scratch. If somebody already has something you need, it's easy to share. Okay, now let's look at creating a search kit. So I'm going to hit new search. It's going to bring me to this screen. I'm going to give it a name, contacts that. All right. You could put a description. If it expires at some point, like you won't need it anymore, so it'll disappear from that list and won't be difficult to sift through that list. And also tags, if you want to tag the search. All right, now we're going to build the search. So the first thing is you have to say, which entity do you want to search? Most often in our users' use case, we're going to be looking for contacts. That's the primary search that people do in our system. Which contact have this criteria but don't have that criteria, whatever it is, but we're looking for contacts. You might also want to do searches about contributions, but then it would be about the contribution history to understand the finances or the patterns within your contribution history. You might also do events. You might want to do a search based on events and look at the patterns on your event history, what kind of events get attended and which ones don't. But most often than not, we're looking at context. People want to know who to target, who they can reach out for this or for that. And so I'm going to do a contact search. So what I'm telling SearchKit is we're going to start off from the contact entity, from the spreadsheet with all the contacts. That's our starting point. First thing, and this is a little bit confusing because it's here, is where. This where is a filter. So this is our first level filter. And it's saying, okay, right now we're pulling up the whole table, the whole contact list, but I don't want the whole contact list. I only want individuals. And I might want contacts that are only alive. I don't want any deceased contact. And I might want somebody who, what else could be in the contact? So you could choose from any of the contact fields and filter further. And that's your primary contact. So from our starting point, we're using the contact sheet, but it's only going to pull up individuals, and it's only going to pull up people who are not deceased. That's our first step. And then we already have a report. So if I click search, this is my list, all the contact IDs and names of people who are individuals and not deceased. So you might want to build on that, right? It might not be enough. You could add information over here. Let's say I want to see their Hebrew name. And maybe you want to see their nickname. All contact fields are going to be available. But let's say you want to know a little bit about their giving history, you want to know about donations. Let's say, for example, donations for the past year. So then I'm going to go to this with section. And with is going to allow me to bring into the search another entity, not contacts, but phone or donation or anything like that. So I'm going to go to with, I want to add a contact contribution. Now I want to add contributions to the story. So now, because I added that, I could say, I could add, you'll see over here, in addition to contacts, I have contact contribution. I could put in total amount, and I could put in date. Let's see, contribution date, there we go. So now I'm adding more information. And I get to see the donations of each person. So I brought into the story, I brought into the search, contribution history, information for the contribution entity. But I might want to filter this further. I might not want to see all contributions. I might only want to see contributions that have a status of completed. So I'm going to give for a filter. Status has to be completed. And maybe I also want to limit the financial type. I don't want to see all the contributions. I only want to see donations. So these filters here are for the entity I'm bringing in, contact contribution. But what if I want to see separately? I also want to see donations that are pending, but I don't want to see them in the same column. I want to see another one. So then I could do the same thing again. I could add another contribution, contact contribution, which will look like this, contact contribution 2. And over here, the status we're going to say is pending. And I don't care which financial type for that one. So then now you'll see in my list of available fields, I have a new section called contact contribution 2. And from here, I could put the total amount. It's all in alphabetical order usually. I guess not. And I could do contribution date. And again, make sure to select the one in contribution 2. And here I have it. Now I have 2 separate sections. This one's showing me financial types that are donation and completed. And here I have pending contributions of any type. So this gives me more information. So the thing is like this. Over here with the with, you'll see optional. So this is an additional factor you could throw in. By making it optional, it will just bring in the field and display any information that's available. But if you want, you can make it required. And what that means is they'll only show people on the list that have a contribution that's completed, a financial type donation. So it furthers, this is our first filter, and this is our second filter. Not only does it filter which data shows up here, but it also filters the whole list. And you'll see now, it took away anyone who doesn't have this kind of donation. While this one, we're making it optional. so that we see the pending donations, even if we see the row in the search, even if they don't have a pending donation. But if I were to make this required, you'll see no one would show up. Or I can make this optional also, and then now you'll see that only people that have this show up, and they don't have any existing contributions. So I'm going to keep them both optional for now. You could also do without. So let's say you want to do what we'll do is you don't want to see anybody who has a contribution in the last month. So we're going to do another one. We're going to do contact. Sorry, let's do contribution 3. And we're going to do without, and we're going to say date. The contribution date is not, let's do date range, this month, or let's say past 30 days. So basically we're saying take away from this list anybody who has a donation in the past 30 days. That is complete. So let's add a status, because we want to make sure it's completed 1. And just to point it out again, look, I'm making sure to select under contact contribution 3, because that's where this is the 3rd filter. And I'm going to mark it completed. So now it filtered out anybody who has a contribution within the last 30 days. Okay, so this explains this section so far. This section over here adds information for you to display on your search, and it also allows you to further filter your list. If you'll notice, there's another problem with this report is that the same person shows up multiple times. I might not want to see every single transaction he's ever made. I just want to see the total amount, actually. So how do I do that? What if I just want to see all the sum of all his past contributions? So in that case, we could use this group feature. And we could say, I want to group the results of this page by contact ID. And what that means, it'll show all the contact IDs only once. So no one's going to show up twice. Question is, what happens if there's multiple records for this? So you'll see that over here, it automatically added them all up, but it put all the dates here. So you could see what's going on by clicking on field transformations. And you'll see that for this, for the total amount field, it's summing it up. It's adding it all up. And you'll see that for the date, it's listing all the dates. Now, let's say I just want the date of the last contribution. So I could change list, and I could say, give me the maximum. And now if I go back to the same person, it's showing me just the last date, the highest, the largest date, which is the most recent, instead of showing me all of them. Does this filter line items by financial type? What's this? I'll have to specify. You ask it. So somebody's asking a question right now, asking me if this filters line items by financial type. So,
well, my question, if I can jump in, is that all right?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah,
the question I'm asking is, one of the big issues I've had with the search feature is that, especially by price sets, if there was 2 separate financial types, one was, if the primary one was event and the secondary one within a price set was a donation, the search would not pull the donation ones as donations. It would all be recorded as an event.
I see. Got it. So what you're asking is by line item within the contribution. Correct. So contribution, there's a contribution record, and in the contribution record, there could be line items in some cases. If you're using price sets, for example, then line items will show that up. So let's see if the line item entity is available. So you see contribution line item. So basically, whatever we did here, you could do with line items. So this will give you the option to filter by contribution line item. So you have all the fields for line items, and you could use these filters, financial type that are related to line items, so on and so forth. And then you could.
So we'd have to filter that separately. It still won't pull the donation financial type as part of just the general donation filter that we're using.
No, I mean, because the financial type exists on the contribution record, and then there's within line items also there's the financial type. So it exists in two different pages. They're two different entities. So there's the same way you see over here. We have the contact entity and the phone, and then the contributions. Line item is also a separate entity. So you have to filter it separately. Does that make sense? But you could look, what you could do is you could add some of the fields. Line item total. Let's say I want to do financial type, so we could do financial type. So it looks like a lot of these do not have line items, so we can't see. But try it, you'll see that the line items you'll be able to pull up that information, filter by that information using SearchKit. So just don't have any usable data over here. Okay, going back to grouping. So the grouping over here allows you to group by contact ID, and you could also group by other things. If you want to group by, let's say, Hebrew name, you want to know how many Yehudas donated, you could do that as well. Yeah, you could group by whatever you want to group using this. And then you have your field transformations, allows you to list, max, decide how you're dealing with fields that have multiple values. This distinct option means that you're filtering out any non-unique value. Distinct means the value has to be distinct. So if it's a repeated value, it would not show up if you click this. So let's do this. And so this is our report so far. And then finally, after we did all this, there's this filter over here, having. This is the final filter. And basically, this is another filter, but this filters the results, as opposed to this, which filters directly from the source entity we're using. And these are there to filter out these things that we're adding. This having filters out from the results. So now the final results that we have, I could use the having. And for example, let's say contribution total. I could say I only want to see results that are more than 100. And what should happen is that anything that's less than 100 doesn't show up. Right? And so if I say less than 100, then only the ones that have less than 100 show up. And keep in mind, these are not one contribution record. This is a sum of all the contributions. So this final filter is filtering the output of this whole search. After fields have been transformed and grouped and filtered, so on and so forth, this is the final filter. So you could use it, you could not use it, but it's there. So effectively, we built out a report that filters contacts to make sure that we're only seeing individuals and people who are alive. And it further shows us contributions, how much they gave in the past, total of contributions that are completed and a financial type donation. We also separately displayed any pending contributions they had. And then also we filtered out from this list anybody who donated in the past 30 days. And we grouped this together to show us the sum of their donation history and the sum of their pending donations. I want to add one more filter because this one is also going to be an interesting one. You could add a related contact. This one might come up. So let's say you want to add their spouse. You could say, show me the spouse. And over here, it automatically add the display name. So over here, I can see this person is married to this person. So we have the spouses here as well. Okay, so I think that's a good start. That gives you enough to get started with SearchKit to build your search. Finally, once you're done, you could create screens. So you could create a smart group from this, so that anybody who show up in this list will become a smart group, and this group will automatically stay up to date based on this search. You could also create a table, a list, grid, autocomplete, and DB entity I've not played with, so I'm going to leave them out for now. But these are just different formats of what the results could look like. So this is now I'm creating a table. It's called table 1. I could change it to my favorite list, put a description. I could choose to enforce permission or whether anybody can have access to this page if they have the link. Be careful with that. So enforce permission, make sure only people with permissions can see that. And then you have all these options, but sorting by how do you want to sort it, whether the action menu should be available on this page. So just to show you what that looks like. So this is the action menu. So if I'm clicking all and I want to perform an action, this is available. I could also choose to select which items are available in the action menu. So again, depending who's going to have access to this, what the purpose of this list, you might just want to have tags. Maybe that's the only thing people need to have access to.
Do you have time for a very specific question or?
Well, we'll do specific question at the end. Let me just finish going through this page and we'll do specific questions. Then you have the option to auto run or search button, meaning when you load this page, does it automatically show the search or do you have to click search? Keep it on auto run, show count and header, meaning how many results, add new button, and then it sends you to a form to create a new contact. Table styles, you could edit table styles, row style, so on and so forth. How many results do you want per page? So you could have 50 results per page, 200 results per page. These are all just little things to configure this search result. So I'm going to take away the search menu. I could show total and footer. And then you could also rename these fields, right? Because these could be annoying. So let's say I don't want to show contact ID. That's not for the display, that's for the search. Display name, I want to say, change it to contact. And again, there's a lot of things you could add here. You could put in an icon and go to town with styling and adding more things. You see like this is a lot. So I could just put all donations completed. Same here, pending donations. This one I could change it to last contribution date. And I'm gonna hide this one. And this is you see this is the spouse, so I could change it to spouse name. And I'm gonna hit save and view display. And this is my final results and my report.